All right, and welcome to the Business Shower Podcast, a podcast for business owners to shine. Today, I am talking with Lynn McIntee, actor, theaterist, just like all around, I'm going to say great person, right? So, Lynn, please introduce yourself to our guests on the show.
Kelly, humbled indeed. Thank you so much for having me here and hosting me today. Wow. And shout out to Kelly for sure, Kelly Edwards as well, for the wonderful podcast that she's doing and the work in the community. Yeah. Thank you. Thank you for hosting me. What can I say? Let's see. I'm from, I was born in Edinburgh, but I've been in Canada most of my life. So right now I'm based in Southern Ontario and so it's kind of cool. It's nice to connect with you. And I've been connecting with some other like-minded folk who are doing good work in the community. Yeah. I've been an actor in the region for theater, film, radio, reporter for local television, but humbly mention all those things because as you know, you kind of learn and grow along the way and you kind of morph into what becomes present day and the skills that you have, right?
Absolutely.
So, yeah. So it's a bit of this, a bit of that. And I think all leading up to this has been teaching international students, English for sure, but through the study of global issues and what does it mean to be a world citizen, and all those cool things that surround working together as a community, right?
Yes, absolutely. In Canada, that is my favorite place.
Oh, nice.
Yes, I haven't been in a while, but I plan to go back. Since the pandemic, nobody's going anywhere, but Canada is like one of my favorite places.
That's cool.
Okay, so tell us your story and how it shaped you to who you are today.
Thanks, Kelly. Appreciate that. So yeah, for sure. I'd gotten into the sort of the business world, but then made a sort of a bit of a shift. Met a great person in the community and said, you know what, you've got something going on. I want to, and I mean that with respect, I want to write you a letter of reference. But firstly, I'd like you to write it. And write it about yourself. And I thought, wow, what a great learning opportunity, right? Mm-hmm. And thought, what do I write about myself? So it kind of opened up the doors when I was able to kind of pen it. And she was a prof from U of T and, just knew her through work that I'd done in the community, not really connected to her program. And I thought, oh, what a great learning moment. And then I just kind of opened up the doors from there. That letter, that person who said, hey, I see you. Reminded me to see everyone else as you kind of go through your life and learn and grow and all the different things that you do that make you who you are. It started out that way and then got into child development and teaching international students. Okay. But what struck me more was working through global responsibility, global citizenship, and always kind of arriving humble to the table and keeping your mind open to learning from someone else, whether it's someone in Brazil or United States or India, Canada, whatever. We're all learning and growing together as business people, and we have something to contribute. So I kind of learned that early on, and I think that did shape me as a person for sure, to remind myself to stay humble.
Awesome. So that's a great story. But you mentioned something that I wanted to kind of piggyback on. They had you write your own reference letter. This person has you write your own reference letter. So what did you get out of writing your own reference letter? Because I'm just sitting here thinking and I'm like, what do I say about me? Like, right. What do I say about me? But what did you get out of that?
I think it was stuff you already know about yourself, I guess. And I was happy that she pointed that out. Like, here's something that you probably don't see in yourself, but I'm a person in a position to offer you something here gracefully. So what I got out of that was recognizing what was already there, sort of that core person and core service, core working in community and with people and wanting to be a nice person, right? So that's what I think, I thought just reminded me, like, that is you, and that is who you are establishing yourself to be as you move through the business world, right?
Absolutely. Okay.
Yeah.
So, how often, we're not gonna go there yet. Let's skip that question right now. Let's go to, what did you take from your experience in school that helped you start your business? Is there anything in particular that you've taken from school?
Well, actually, I think all of it. And I think because the business is sort of everyone else has the ownership of it. So, for example, yeah, no, I think all of that and just sort of human development. I think that was key is just realizing that everybody has a story, whether it be young or old or somewhere in between. And we all come to the table with different levels of understanding, I guess, that we need to, right? And that's key in order to have a sense of community in any work that you do, whether it be in child development, teaching, working with families, survivors of trauma, all kinds of opportunities to keep those doors open, right?
Yeah.
So I think it just recognizing the whole person is kind of what struck me early on. I thought, I better pay attention here, pay attention to what's around me, and kind of what our folks would say, and you'll soon realize, and sure enough, you do. It's like, okay, yeah, I get that. I see it.
Yes, yeah. I do. Okay. Yeah. So, what's the biggest pain point you've been dealing with since COVID happened, or has your business just skyrocketed and taken off?
Yeah, that's a good question. I think it's been taking off. And I think that's kind of interesting because I think people really didn't know which way to go when it hit, right? And there was a bit of a scramble and having to relearn things for some people to bring it all online.
Yeah.
And then what a great opportunity. I get to have time with you today, right? By being in this situation. So in many ways, that hopefully it's opening up doors for people.
Yeah.
And it has actually, and I find myself being kind of busy in a good way. And it's like, okay, I'm meeting so-and-so today and I'm hanging out. We're going to do this play and we're going to do this reading or this conversation. And wow, it's endless. And that's great too. And there's a place for it as we move through and come through the other side of the pandemic. I think there will always be a place for this.
Yes, absolutely. Okay. So in those difficult moments, so this is the question I was going to ask you earlier. In those difficult moments, how do you stay focused on moving forward and making progress? Like, how do you keep yourself going when you feel like you're just like, you know what, I'm done. I want to give up.
Yeah, for sure. Again, I think reaching out to people. Because that's really key. And I think laughter is always the base of everything for me, right? Just kind of keep it light and just, we're all kind of going through serious things in life, but there's a moment for laughter. There's a moment for dance. There's a moment to just, dance like nobody's watching or dance like somebody is watching, even better, right? And that's okay. So I think that, and just that reminding myself that that's the core of who I am and has always been there. And that's key to keep that through difficult times in our society. And maybe it's that person at the bank that's, or in the line that's feeling, really crappy. But that, smile with the eyes under the mask is still, being recognized, right? Or the nod, the extra nod.
Or the door holding. I don't know. Does door holding make you feel good inside when somebody just holds the door for you? It just makes me feel really good when somebody holds the door for me and not let it slam on my face. Yeah.
No, yeah, for sure. And it'd be kind of neat as if there's somebody, so somebody held it for you and they held it for another person, then kind of some kind of comedy routine just from that. It's like everybody's holding the door for each other.
Yes.
Which is kind of neat,
Exactly.
Yeah, I like that. Okay. That's cool.
So what's the most important thing you learned in life? So this is a loaded question. All right. So just to prepare you. So what's the most important thing you learned in life? What was your life like before you learned it? And what was your life like after you learned it?
Yeah, nice one. I think that's a good one, actually. So I'd say maybe when you're younger, you're learning the skills to not take it down a notch, but take things with a grain of salt, but in the same sense, don't take yourself seriously, but the people around you. So maybe that's something you learn early on. Okay, well, maybe when you're 14, you didn't do it quite as well as you were 21. And at 21, you're going to modify it again because you've learned some other skills from the person you work beside or with, right? So I'd say then I would say maybe as I evolved is recognizing there's everyone in the room, right? And so for me, that's really important. And I even have that now, and I'm so glad I have that now, and I learned that then. It's like, you know what, when you are there, you're present, but you're also present with other people. right?
Yes.
And just, yeah, if you're not, then what's the point of it all, right?
Exactly.
Yes. So, yeah,
Exactly.
yeah.
Okay. So, what advice would you give someone wanting to pursue a similar career to yours, or just to someone who wants to start a business? Like, what advice would you give them to get started?
Yeah, for sure. I think you may suggest this as well, Kelly, is volunteerism, right? Starting that early on. And it's never too late actually to take on volunteerism, but just getting your name out there in terms of experience.
Mm-hmm.
I would start there and just offering your service, getting your name known that way. In terms of building your portfolio. Then you get recognized for those key things that keep showing up, being on time, recognize everybody in the room, being organized, all those things. Like they tell two friends, like, oh, there you go, there's another opportunity. So it's, I think just staying true to yourself, staying true to the people around you, sharpening your tools and keeping that toolkit handy for whatever it may be as you go, because your toolkit will get bigger, and and how great is that, right?
Yeah, exactly. Okay. What are some of the best resources that helped you along the way in your business? Like, what are some of the things that you use, tools, people, organizations that helped you be successful within your business?
Yeah, for sure. I would say reaching out again to volunteers and students, and through university, using the opportunity to bridge new learners, whether through college or university, students an opportunity to work with you, working on a project. Again, reaching out for volunteers and cross-promoting each other, starting that way. Working for, trading off, your businesses for whichever to get other people going, but always kind of keeping the door open to shine light on the collective. Yes, you got your business that you're pursuing, but all the other people around you are, helping that to happen, right? So yeah, I know. Is there part B of that question? Yeah, sorry.
Yeah, no, that was pretty much like just some of the things, and you mentioned all of them, some of the resources that helped you. So, you reached out to people and volunteer and things like that. So those are all some good gems, everybody. So everyone who's usually listening to the podcast are new entrepreneurs. So they always want to know, well, how did she get there? Or how did he get there? So she volunteered, she reached out, she wasn't afraid to, put herself out there and talk to people. So that's kind of the reason why I asked that question. So go ahead.
Yeah, no, that's cool, because that is what it's about. It's like you said, putting yourself out there, right? And but it's learning how to do that. And even just I was just talking to a girl for interview for her school, and learning interview skills is a huge deal for her. And just like, oh my gosh, and then another person, it's presentation skills. They have to do it in their field, but we all kind of have to figure out a strategy to be able to do that. And whatever works, whether it's, you're digging your nails into the countertop when you're giving that presentation, if that helps you ground yourself, then whatever that works. Or somebody else that might be, they're wearing sort of a lucky charm for the day, but just finding strategies, right? It's not easy, but it comes easy, or easily, afterwards.
It does. It does. Okay. So, what advice would you give your younger self?
Let's see. Don't rush it. Don't rush it. Take it all in.
Okay.
Yeah. Don't rush it. Take it all in and really enjoy the ride, because that really is what it is. We're kind of on this road of life, right? And so if you kind of look at it that way, you can kind of just enjoy the process without speeding along too fast.
Okay.
Awesome. That way you get to enjoy people like yourself and hang out and talk and learn and grow.
Exactly. So let's talk about your business for a second. So what are some things that you have coming up that you want to talk about and promote for your business? Like what do you see your vision for your business in the next couple of months?
Yeah, no, for sure. So I think I'll start with Moksha Canada Foundation. So this wonderful organization, it's a nonprofit, and actually the founder is from LA, a retired police officer who moved to Toronto, and started this
Okay.
foundation. Yeah, really cool. And
Yes.
met him and met the org just last summer, doing some reporting for them and offering my work. And then they contacted me again and said, do you want to do the Spotlight on Community podcast? So I've had an opportunity to interview people in Canada, but also the United States as well too. Much like yourself and what you're doing now, but focus on suicide prevention, those kind of things, and financial literacy and a whole bunch of different things. So accessibility. So it's been really great. And so that's growing, and it's just launched last week actually. And that'll go on right into the fall. And so that's Moksha Canada Foundation. And they've also got a youth program called Youth for Change Canada as well. And so I do another Spotlight on Youth podcast. And it's really great. It's working again with people like yourself. We might talk about different things, but just focused on youth. So that would be coming up and ongoing. Okay. And for acting purposes, I'm always open to sort of voiceovers and hired for, work online or whichever. I love doing that. And I just finished a radio drama that's online. It was for ICTHE's theatre productions in Brantford, Ontario. And it's a Sherlock Holmes version. So they can follow the series of that over the next little while. And for reporting for those other things, it's I had an opportunity to interview a group from Directing Change in California, and that's a young people organization, again, suicide prevention. They're putting out films based on telling a story. Wow. And then a girl from Detroit, Bold Blind Beauty, fantastic, just really fantastic, and just crossing that over in terms of knowledge and what we're doing here, learning and growing, right? Yeah. So I'd say Moksha Canada Foundation, just keep your eyes out for that, and programs that I'm, doing there, and Youth for Change Canada is another one. And then, myself online as an actor, always reaching out, but keeping it humble along the way.
Exactly. Exactly. You know what you said? You said that your voice. I could picture me listening to like a Sherlock Holmes podcast and just hearing your voice. I would probably be so into it because I'm like into those mystery type of podcasts, and I'm just listening. But then again, those same podcasts will scare me when I'm in the house by myself and I hear something. I'm like, what is that? But you have the perfect voice for it, so I have to say that. So my question, and I feel like my listeners are going to want to know the same thing. Your interest in the social service field and suicide prevention and things like that. How did that come about?
Yeah, no, thank you. I think from teaching and working with survivors of trauma early on, and international audience actually. So it was a newcomer program working directly with families that had experienced trauma, and then resettling here in Canada. So that kind of got me going along the lines of understanding mental health and that balance. And then just, again, realizing that everybody has a story, and suicide prevention is so very key because mental health is in all aspects of our lives. I think everybody would know that, right? And touches us all. So I think bringing it to the forefront is what's important to me. And it's not a taboo subject. So I think more and more, and especially coming through the pandemic as well, it runs deep for people, and it might just be that moment on the phone with them to lift them up. It just may change their day, whichever it may be. So it's important to me to kind of just be a part of helping someone to see the light and feel light, and and lighten their darkness, right?
Yes. Okay.
Yeah.
Awesome. Yeah. So, before we wrap up, let our listeners know how they can connect with you online, and just say all your handles. I'm actually going to put it in your summary, but just say it here for the podcast so the listeners know where they can find you.
Oh, thanks a lot. I'll zero in on two. I've just recently restarted a new Instagram.
Oh, okay.
So it's like, we're just getting that one going. So that's we'll go for artist _ Lynne, Lynne. Yeah, so that's artist _ Lynne, Lynne. And we go for Facebook, Lynn Mick, MC. There's a little story around that. Teaching kids earlier, so they wouldn't find me. I kind of just shortened the name.
Yes.
So it's kind of come in handy, and it sticks with me, and I use that for promos and stuff.
Okay.
Yeah.
Awesome.
So that's one way. But of course, if people lost track of it there, they could always get a hold of me through Moksha Canada Foundation or Youth for Change Canada. Reach out to me there as well. Yeah.
Yes. Awesome. Well, thank you so much for being on the show today. I really appreciated it. Guys, this was an awesome interview. She dropped some gems. So if you need to go back and listen, please do. And that is a wrap for today. Everybody, good night. Peace.